So, fun fact, 37% of the entire web is porn. How much porn is there? Welcome to Break Time on Westside, your number one break time podcast coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. The man on the mic is Sir Denver B. This show is Tweetstreet. We are into our second episode. And this is a show where we dive into Twitter, we look at a couple of tweets, and we pick some that seem fairly interesting and discuss them. And due to one or two people commenting on this, I will start mentioning the people that mentioned the tweet so that y'all can get famous as well, just like that. Now, firstly, back to the starting statement that I just made. 37% of the web is porn. Now, I saw this fact online and it kind of tickled my interest to some level, because the way I know it, there's the web that most of us regular people use, and then there's the dark web, which only like top level hackers, criminal masterminds, like people of the underworld would usually use. And it's a lot bigger than the regular web that we use. Now, when you think about it, you might think that the dark web isn't that big, but think of it this way. Google can only access about 8% of the total internet footprint. Like the entire internet, Google can only access about 8%. So there's like another 92% that's just dark web. So with that being said, it does kind of make it a bit odd that rapists, murderers, drug lords, hackers, they all have access to like their own version of porn. Because I know porn has a ton of categories, a ton of subsections. Even in those categories, some people have different fetishes, people just look at porn differently, and it's huge. So knowing that it makes up about 37% of the internet is quite huge. For an industry that people usually look down upon, we need to give it a ton more credit. But anyways, that being said, over this past weekend, a tabloid website kind of came up and stated that Dangote was saying that he needs a wife and he's not getting any younger at 61. Now, obviously, if you hear that it's coming from a site called 411gists.xyz, you obviously know that it's a tabloid. And Dangote probably never said such shit. But that being said, you actually sit down and you look at some of the comments that people had. Like, some guy just came out and he was like, I've not read the article, but I hope he hasn't specified the sex. I'm tired of living this straight broke life. I'd rather have my rectum in pain in the Bahamas rather than it being alright when I'm stuck somewhere in the boondoos and I'm broke as shit. Now, that obviously is paraphrased because some of it is in Swahili, and I know that there's people in the States, there's people in Spain, maybe one or two people in China, some people in Asia that actually do listen to this. So for your sake, I had to paraphrase. Now, it does kind of show an underlying issue because it's something that I've heard a lot of times. Not mainly with men, it's mostly women. Whenever you hear a woman going through a certain number of problems, a young lady going through a certain number of problems, for some reason, you hear them saying that if only I can get some rich man to marry me, then I won't have to bother with these issues. I just need myself a rich husband. As much as yes, I get it's mostly a joke. It's mostly a joke, but it does kind of paint an underlying foundation. Men in general are viewed as a solution and as an escape, because end of the day, when you look at it, yes, women are known to be hypergamous, and because they're known to be hypergamous, they'll go and they'll shoot for the guy that makes more than them, that is more resourceful than them in a sense. It's a bit hard in this world, actually. It's a very interesting situation that we're going to have in a couple of years, because people that aren't making too much, or people that aren't worth a certain woman or women, and then there's going to be very few of them that are super worthy. Hell, that even beyond it, some of them might be overkill, that might probably not even want them. And this is without even including, gay people and shit. So think about it. I think people need to start looking at stuff a little differently. If I can win the lottery, then you can play the lottery. Stop trying to marry someone's son. Boring shit aside. So I was on Twitter the other day about 2 days ago. So I stumbled upon this tweet that I stumbled upon this tweet that was made by a lady on Twitter whose username is Joe_Kimani. Money being Money. Now, she just started with this tweet of list of things that are overrated. I'll go first, alcohol. And it did kind of stir up this thought in my head. How many overrated things do we have on this planet? And it kind of did tickle my thought. Alcohol is actually pretty overrated. In this big bedroom that we call Nairobi, alcohol is overrated as shit. Because how many weekends do we go out and people are drinking? Trust me, whether there's money, whether there's no money, people in this country, people in this Nairobi will always drink. The only difference is when there's no money, there's usually one person that can probably handle the drinks for a few people. Like, people might consume a bit less alcohol, but alcohol will still be consumed. Which does make me think it's a very overrated product, in my opinion. I don't think you need the alcohol to have fun, but then again, I don't drink. So if I don't drink, then it means that my statement kind of comes from a point of subjectivity. Because I don't drink, I don't necessarily require it. But even guys who take alcohol, you should probably think about the times when you can, take a break, find something else to do, because you can't just make your weekends all about drinking. For those of you all that listen to Battle of the Sexes from this week, I clearly stated it. If your date's idea of a good time over the weekend is going out for drinks with the boys, or going out for drinks with the girls, or just going out for drinks in general, they have no substance. That's it. Like, you should have some more shit to go and do, because going out to drink is a pastime thing. Like, think of it as calling a chocolate donut a full meal. Like, there has to be more. There has to be more that you toss there. You can have that as part of the dessert. You can toss in, like a Caesar salad as the appetizer, or some shit, or some soup. And then, you have a main course having like a ribeye steak, some rice. I don't know. You can. I'm not exactly the cooking type or the chef type, so I wouldn't exactly know. But that being said, alcohol, in my opinion, super overrated. I think people need to do a lot less of it and find more interesting ways to have fun. That's just my opinion. Now, that being said, there were a ton of other comments, of which I properly get some, I don't get others, and I think that some are just totally offside. Now, first one that I saw was sex, as the list of things that are overrated. Now, as a guy that does a podcast that talks a ton about sex, I will say this: sex is overrated. Y'all probably didn't expect that, but sex is overrated, and I totally get it. Sex is overrated. The number of things that people do for sex, the number of the relationships that have been broken because of sex, the number of jobs that have been acquired and lost because of, and because of lack thereof, of sex, have been too damn many. Now, the thing is, I'd have probably linked sex to dick and pussy and other things, but I have all of those sort of lined up somewhere else. But yeah, in my opinion, sex is probably overrated, and there's some people that probably talk about it too damn much. One of them is on this mic right now. But that aside, sex is thoroughly overrated for a lot of people. People want it so much, yet most times after you've already gotten it once, you probably just want to chill. Like, a lot of people never really understand that it's usually just a hunger until you get it, then you get satisfied for a certain period of time. Next one, intimate relationships. Yeah, no, I honestly do not get this one. Intimate relationships aren't overrated. Intimate relationships are amazing. I'm not saying this because I'm in one or I'm doing something. Hell, I'm fucking single. I do understand the need for intimacy. I do understand the importance of intimate support and intimacy as a thing, even without the sex. And intimate relationships are an amazing thing. Also, a lot of your kids came through intimate relationships. Goodness sakes. But that being said, intimate relationships are a very good stress reliever, and it's always amazing to feel loved, Next one, avocados. Nope. I'm guessing the reason why you're saying that avocados are overrated is because you have a ton of friends that love avocados and you don't. I will say this on behalf of everyone that will probably talk about avocados being the best thing ever. Yes, avocados are amazing, but they're not for everyone. It's almost like weed, because I know one or two people that absolutely hate avocados, but I will say for a fact that avocados are amazing. They're an amazing fruit. They're amazing on a salad. Fruit salad, not so much. Vegetable salads, they're amazing. They're good for fat and weight loss. They're good for skincare as a raw material for skincare products. And also as an addition to food, it's a really nice, cheap, low-cost way, at least for us guys here, to sort of add flavor to an entire meal. Trust me, avocados are amazing. Subarus. Yeah, Subarus aren't... Okay, yeah, they're overrated. Because especially in this part of the world, Subarus have this growing community of people that, for a lot of people, like if you're in the US, you might probably attribute it to BMW people or Nissan GTR people. They are perceived to be douchebags, and a lot of the people that roll with Subarus are very... Let me just say they're very interesting people. But a lot of them tend to have more or less the same behaviors of, oh, guys, let's go out of town here. Let's go smoke nyama. Oh, I was supposed to bang this mommy, blah, blah, blah. If you're from Nairobi, then you probably understand what you guy, my guy type of people are. They're the ones that are actually known to roll with Subarus a lot of times. But yeah, there is the stereotype of Subaru boys. Personally, Subaru people are just people like any other person. They're just people like SDAs, people like Catholics. Subaru people are just a community of people that really, really love their Subarus. And I think that Subarus are overrated, but that's just a personal thought. I don't think that all that in terms of cars. But for the most part, they're pretty okay. They get the job done with a not so big engine. Let's see, next one. Weed. If you're next to someone that smokes weed, or if you're listening and you smoke weed, let me say it like this. Weed is overrated, but it's not as overrated as you might think. Now, weed has its benefits. Weed has its drawbacks. I won't lie. I'm not the type to smoke up, so I'm not a weed person. But I find that, weed people make weed look like it's the best shit on planet Earth. Yet there's a 99.9% chance it isn't. So if you're around people that smoke up a lot and always talk about weed, then you'd say that it's overrated. Is it overrated though? I don't think so. I think it's a pretty good drug in terms of some of the uses that it can be used for. But I think it's okay. It's only overrated to people that smoke up a lot. For the people that don't smoke, or the ones that'll probably do it, as a social thing, like at a party or with friends, they probably don't give too much of a shit about it. Next one, Billie Eilish. I don't know. It's an if. I haven't heard much of her songs. I find her a bit boring, in my personal opinion, and I think that she's probably alright. I haven't listened to her much. Next one, the iPhone. Yes. iPhones are overrated. iPhones are amazing devices, but I'm going to say it like it is. iPhones are overrated. And nowadays with this Twitter generation, or at least with this large number of people that use Twitter, everyone, or at least a ton of people, want to be identified as Twitter for iPhone. It's nothing too fancy. It just shows where the tweet came from. And personally, I just feel as though iPhones, heavily overrated, but very amazing devices. Next one, Queen Sono. Yo, you did not just attack Queen Sono on this one. Queen Sono is not overrated. It's a very, very good series. I think it's just the hype that really pushed it. Personally, I love action movies and series. I like series that have a lot of spy shit in it. So I'm probably one person that would say yes, it's an amazing series. But at the same time, does it have its flaws? Well, yeah, maybe. The action is a bit more simple than I thought. I was expecting a lot more extra shit to be done. But then again, as a series, as a work of art, I really, really like it. So is it overrated? Highly doubt it. Next one, women. Yes, women are overrated, but we love them, and we need to create the next generation. So, in every point of honesty, women are overrated, but we love them. How can I say this? It's perfectly okay. We love them, and we continue to cherish them. Let's see. Light skin people. Yes, light skin people are overrated. It's what most people would call neocolonialism, but then again, when you think about it, when they blush, you can actually see them blushing, unlike us black people. When we blush, we just have a gigantic smile, and sometimes people just guess that shit. But that being said, light-skinned people can be very attractive. Having a little less melanin isn't a bad thing nor a good thing, it's just a thing. But it shouldn't be used as a standard for beauty. Next one, Jeannie Aiko. She isn't even overrated yet. She's good. I will say it as that. She's good. Pizza, is it overrated? Yes. For a lot of people, it is overrated. Big dicks. Yes, big dicks are overrated. I'm going to say that real quick. Big dick is overrated. And along with that, pussy is overrated. Pussy is overrated considering the number of things that people have done for pussy. Almost every single crime that's been committed on this planet, for one reason or another, one of those reasons has been because of, for pussy, for lack of pussy. It's usually just one of those. A lot of times, pussy is the driver of a lot of crime. So does it make the world go round? Yes, but in the wrong direction. Thick women, no, it's not. Thick women aren't overrated. I'm sorry. As someone who has a sickness for the thickness, they're not overrated. They're perfectly fine. Considering that this list is quite nearly endless, let me get into some of my own. Now back to the big dicks thing. Big dicks are overrated in the sense that I was speaking to a woman the other day and she actually said this: you only need about 4 to 8 inches of dick. Hell, 8's even a lot, maybe even about 7. About 4 to 7 inches of dick is perfectly fine. Anything beyond that is probably a little too much. So I will say this because I understand that there's some people that might feel like I have a 5-inch dick, so I'm not enough. Don't worry, you're good. Trust me, your dick is just enough. As long as you're within the 4 to 7, you're mostly good. If you're beyond it, if you're in the 12-inch league, then good for you. But you're pretty much like a V12 engine in huge traffic. You have too much, you might as well have something small like a scooter. Next thing that I'd probably think is overrated is threesomes. Threesomes are heavily overrated. But just like being a billionaire and saying that money isn't worth as much as people give it value for, it's something that you'll need to experience for yourself so that you can come back and say that, you know what, it's not even worth all of that. And I think that is about it. Oh yeah, also porn. Porn is underrated. Porn is heavily underrated. It occupies 37% of the internet. Porn is more than underrated at this point. Anyways, I want to know what other things you find are overrated on this planet of Earth, whether you're in Nairobi, whether you're in Spain, whether you're in Turkey, whether you're in the US of A, whether you're in Nairobi, whether you're in South Africa. I want to know. You can hit us up on Breaktime on Westside, that is on IG, and on Twitter you can hit me up on my personal @BagakaTheD. I will see you guys later.